How's it going?
How you feeling, pal?
Not too bad.
You ready to feel better? I've got some good news for you.
Oh boy.
Oh, don't you want to hear it then?
Oh yeah, I'll hear it.
Yeah, come closer. I'll whisper it to you. So I went to visit Mr. Leo today. Needed to do a bit of business with him.
Oh nice.
And oh yeah, I kind of misjudged that man, I think. And I had a good chat with him. He showed me around his place. It's very impressive. Put it all together himself, which makes it even more impressive, I think. And well, I put a little proposal to him, and he really liked it, and he thought it was a great idea for his business as well.
Okay.
And then, so what I said to him was, "What are you doing with these rafts?" And he says, "Well, I'm going to rent them out." He says, "I'm going to rent them out." He says, "And then I'm going to take people on tours around the island, or if somebody wants to go up to Portland or something like that, I'll take them up there, drop them off, and go and pick them up again. Like, a bit like a taxi service."
Mhm.
So I said, "Well, would you be prepared to do a deal with me where I buy a raft off to you, keep it here for safekeeping, and come and get it as and when I want, and I'll pay you a little bit of rent, keep it." And he absolutely loved the idea. He snapped my hand off, and he says, "What I'll do," he says, "I'll even build you a little like lock up on the quay in the water." Yeah, we've got people spying on us, mate. It's happening a lot round here at the minute.
Really?
I don't think they can hear us. Yeah, I don't think they can hear us. Anyway, so I'll keep my voice down. And so he's going to build us a little lock-up with a raft. And all we've got to do is pay him a weekly or monthly fee, which we will negotiate between us when it's all done. And we'll have a little lock-up with a code lock on it that only we have the code to, where we can go and take the raft anytime we like, go wherever we want. How about that?
That's a great idea, actually.
Well, you gave it to me, mate. You sowed the seed in my head when you talked about going back to that beach again. I thought, well, what's the best way of doing it? You go by car and do a bit of swimming and blah, 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 and all the rest of it. Or you can go up to that camp up north and pick up the raft and do it. But it's a ball ache getting there. So he's only over the way, just in the harbour over there. All we've got to do, whenever you fancy a trip away or you fancy getting away from it all, getting your head together, you can go on your own if you want, or you can go in a group. We just go over there, grab the raft, lock everything up behind us, and off we go. We can sail the seas, go where we like. And I'll tell you something, mate, I reckon it'll be a lot safer than car travel, a lot safer than being on the roads.
Oh
Chances
yeah.
of you getting robbed, what, 0 to 5% probably?
Yeah, something like that, I think.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I know. I definitely think it is safer. Take more people too.
Yeah, I meant more, what do you think about the whole idea? How does that make you
Oh
feel?
well, yeah. I like it actually. Um.
Yeah, because I have these moments where all gets a bit much for me. I need to get away, get my head together, spend a bit of time on my own, or have some time with a couple of friends, chill out on the beach, have a swim. It's lovely over there, isn't it? And it's warm as well. Warm. I like that. Yeah, and then all we've got to do is every month or every week put a few nails together or something or whatever he needs and pay the rent and we're good to go.
Well, I'm glad he likes that idea. Um.
He loves it, mate. He's gonna incorporate it. He says he can do it for not just us, but like anybody really. And all I ask of you, Chris, is to teach me how to sail, because that'd be really good if you teach me how to sail.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, there you go then. Bit of back scratching, you know. I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
It'd be nice
Not
having someone
literally, of
else.
course.
What? What were you saying?
Said not literally, of course.
Oh. But yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
nice having someone else, be able to sail it and stuff.
Well, yeah, because eventually, I might want to go. If you're not around, I might want to go on my own for a bit, you know.
Yeah, so it
But
works out.
I'm not gonna keep it to myself. Anybody else that wants to take it, we'll have a little group of us who have got the key code, and anybody can take it when they want, as long as they look after it. Take a hatchet with them so they can sort of like dismantle it when they get where they're going and keep it safe. I was even thinking approaching the powers that be, see if we can get some sort of system where we can, like, maybe take a camo net with us and cover it up when we're not using it for there, you know.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I know there's one for cars. Used it before. There you go. Job done. And we can get around a lot quicker, and you can go places like Alcatraz without getting your feet wet.
Yeah, because that's a long swim.
Yeah, just a little bit. All we've got to do is choose a group of people that we know will look after it and take care of it, and if anything happens, we'll get it put right. Mr. Leo seems like a very reasonable man, so if we get any damage, I'm sure he'll be able to fix it and put it right. Yeah, he had some interesting things to say, Mr. Leo, especially about why he left.
I need to go check out his place. I haven't done that yet.
Well, it's not completely secure yet, but I think it will be soon, the way he's working. He's got code locks on the key and methods of stopping people getting to the harbour. So, and even if they do get to the harbour, they've then got to get through a lock-up to get to the rafts. So I think he's got it all sorted, mate, to be fair.
Yeah.
As we say in England, I like the cut of his jib. And that's the sailor's saying as well. Because jib's a part of a ship, isn't it? Jib.
Well, you'd know better than anyone else.
Well, I'll look it up. I'm sure it is. Oh, one more favour I need to ask of you, Chris, while you're out there. Or if you come across anybody that keeps unusual items, looking for a Bible.
I still haven't seen one. Um, so
Me either. Might have a word with Mr. Rabbit, because I reckon if anybody's going to have one, it'll probably be him.
that is true.
Get the head up, Chris. Come on. Get out of it, mate. Oh, we got a new addition to the group as well. We brought Stevie Baker. Oh, is it Stevie Baker?
Baxter.
We said Baker. Baxter, that's it. Baxter. Crap, my name's on Chris. Yeah, it was Steve Baxter. We went over to Consortium. Corinthians, that's it. We went over to Corinthians and picked up all his stuff. So this building here, behind you, behind the lockers, he's moved in there today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, seems like a good lad. Okay, so far, anyway. He don't talk about himself in the third person. He don't smash up Forex. That's all a bonus. Yeah, bumped into him earlier, Bubbles, walking around with no pants on.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Luckily, he's put a pair on there. Suffer all that.
Oh, good. I'm glad I didn't get to see that.
Don't worry, mate. Didn't want to believe by you.
Oh,
The smell was quite horrific.
oh jeez.
Anyway, it's another story. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about nice things.
It seems like you want to talk about it.
Like sailing out to sea and finding a golden beach with some nudie women on it and stuff, and you know.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Like, I don't mind people not wearing clothes if they're nice to look at, you know. Yeah, no, perfect little beach where we can, perfect little bay where we can hook that raft up. You can swim in there, you can fish in there, and there's a little like log cabin at the side where you can like set a fire and cook your fish and all the rest of it. Very quiet, nobody bothers you. I don't think many people go there. I've never seen anybody there, and I've never seen any evidence of anybody being there. So
Is that the same place we went before, or is it near it?
it's near it. You know when I kept saying sail southeast, sail southeast.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we came to that part, but if you go in between those two islands and round the back of the last one, that's where it is, the little cove. And yeah, there's more than one cottage. I mean, we don't, yeah, we could take a few people there and get away from it all. How many can you get on those rafts?
We had, let's think, about 6 or 7 maybe on there before.
Yeah, well, there you go then. You'll need more than one log cabin for 7 people, and there's 3. I think there's 3 there. So, yeah. We need to go and find it, mate. When Mr. Leo's ready, he's got everything ready, we'll go and discuss terms with him. Hopefully we can come some sort of agreement that isn't too taxing on us to find every month. And
Ooh, I'm excited.
then, Lord willing, we'll be away before we know it. Next time we meet, we might even be planning to get one. Going up to this party tonight?
Of course.
Good. Have a good time, mate.
Sounds like you aren't going.
Oh,
Why not?
not because I can't. Well, yeah, I will. I can't really. I've got a night shift, mate. Got to do it. I'm going to be here having a good. I might be able to, like, if somebody's something like that, I might be able to be on it from where I am. Somebody GoPros it, you know.
I think Alcourage can stand a night without someone here watching.
It needs must, mate. In my head, I'm working a night shift, so I've got to do it. And plus, I don't really want to. I find it very difficult around lots of people and lots of voices. You know, I find it like really hard to communicate. So I wouldn't be any good up there anyway. Although I am curious to hear what Jack's got to say on the radio tonight about what's going on around here.
Well, I'll turn on my GoPro and so you can have it.
Bless you if you do that for me, mate. I appreciate it.
If I don't forget, which I might, but
Yeah, well, if you do, you do. Not that important. There's some bear steaks in the fridge if you're interested. Baked a bear
oh,
today, this afternoon.
don't mind if I do.
Help yourself. Yeah, I think there's some fat left. Was
Yep.
my favourite part. That is, love a bit of crisp. We ain't got a disco going on tonight. Give me a second, mate. Or somebody over there. Inside my head, mate.
How's it going?
Oh, hello. Mind if I ask you something?
Go for it.
Can we do it by my shop so we don't?
Yeah, yeah.
Bubbles is dealing with a situation that Bubbles had to manage. Oh, so Bubbles made notes for Bubbles.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So do you know Steve Taylor?
Yeah.
So Steve is moving into Elk Ridge, and I believe, if I overheard correctly, Steve is gonna get a store slash home by the entrance of Elk Ridge.
Okay.
Steve originally wanted to build a second story on my shop, and basically live in my store. Bubbles doesn't really want to partner up with Steve because Bubbles trying to do Bubbles' own thing.
All right.
Bubbles finally feels independent after so long. But since Steve is moving in and also doing tailoring, Bubbles doesn't know if Bubbles will still have a store because Steve is better than Bubbles at barter, making tailoring stuff. So
Okay.
Bubbles feels like Bubbles is going to go out of business because Steve moved in here and is moving out of the Cornelia place.
All
So
right. I
Bubbles
see.
just wanted your opinion on what you think Bubbles is. Bubbles is just paranoid and kind of scared that Bubbles is going to ran out. Steve decided to.
Well, I think maybe you should maybe work together with Steve. Maybe you can learn some stuff, um, and help out when he's not around.
Bubbles could. It's just. Bubbles doesn't know. Bubbles just had something going for Bubbles, and then since Steve didn't like where he was living, he just decided to come in here and, which I don't want to be selfish. Bubbles is grateful for what Bubbles has. It just seems that Bubbles worked so hard to get where the Bubbles is, and Jack is just allowing Steve to just take everything.
Hmm. Well, you could always be the main tailor person, and if you have any
That's the
like,
thing. Steve is better than Bubbles, so Bubbles will be the main tailor.
yeah, but if you learn from him, you know,
Uh, but then Bubbles would. That means we would have to basically build a store together. Well, and then Steve is just trying to live in the store, which Bubbles doesn't feel too comfortable about, because Bubbles wants to move, have a separate life from work and from not work. That's why Bubbles doesn't want to live in Bubbles' shop. But Steve wants to live where Steve works. So I don't know, it's a lot to take in because it all happened at once.
well, from the sounds of it, he actually lives in that cabin over there. Um, but maybe it's just something you guys need to talk out and figure it out.
I guess Bubbles just wanted an opinion.
Yeah, I understand. It'll all work out in the
Bubbles,
end.
because that means we would have to do, like, yes, it would be nice having, you know, share recipes and get stuff quicker and faster. But Bubbles doesn't know how Steve is as a person.
Well, then you just gotta.
Bubbles, Bubbles doesn't want to charge a lot. Bubbles wants to make sure that people have what Bubbles need.
I get you.
Bubbles doesn't want to work with someone who's just going to try to suck as much nails as out of someone because he feels like he's able to.
Hmm.
And Bubbles doesn't want to jump into some store partnership if Bubbles doesn't really want that, or feels or doesn't know again who the person he's working with is.
Well, if you feel that way, then I mean, talking to him about it would probably be the best course of action. Just tell him how you feel, and
Bubbles doesn't mind competition. It's just that Bubbles is kind of getting thrown to the side, but Bubbles will work it out. Bubbles something.
yeah, you'll get
Because,
it.
but then again, Elk Ridge can't have two tailors. That makes no sense. Elkridge is not big enough for that.
Well, if he's not
And
around
Jack
as
only
much.
wants that's also true. And I was thinking that also. But Jack only wants one profession, basically her in town. And Bubbles can't fall back on blacksmithing because Jack wants to do it, and Bubbles will allow Jack to have that. He doesn't mind. And Bubbles had Taylor. So Bubbles doesn't want to get pinched in between basically being a sub genre of a profession because, oh, it's just happening so fast. Bubbles wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd recommend talking to Jack about it. Maybe he has some better insight, but
So what do you think Bubbles should do?
I I I personally think you two should work together. You know, I mean, we have two doctors. You know, the more the better.
Bubbles understands having two doctors, but doesn't really trying to I don't know. Bubbles will just have to talk to Steve and Jack.
Yeah, that's all you really can do.
And like people, I don't know. I don't know how people feel about Steve because people always just pass on Steve to other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like from
Like Steve was
his.
talking to the old man, and I walked by, and the old man was like, "Oh, Steve wanted to talk to you," and then the old man ran inside his shop. And one time, Steve was talking to was wasn't you or Mace or it was someone, and then when I walked by, they were like, "Oh, Steve wanted to talk to you," and then they also just ran away from like inside their cabin or whatever.
Huh.
I don't even know if people like Steve.
I mean, he doesn't seem bad. I haven't know. I didn't talk to him a lot yet, but
Yeah, it'll just take some time. I think for now, Bubbles will just do Bubbles' own thing until it comes to a time where Bubbles has to make a decision.
yeah, that's all you really can do at this point.
Is there anything Bubbles can do or help you with?
Do you need this, or do you already have one like it?
If you don't mind, I will take it from.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll show you what Bubbles can make stuff with. So normally, when you hold a teddy bear, you can feel what's inside of it, you know.
Yeah.
But Bubbles found out a way. Bubbles can make where the teddy bears, where you can't feel what's inside of them. You actually have to open up the head to see what's inside the teddy bear.
Really?
If you put the teddy bear in your hand, you can't tell what's inside the teddy bear. But if you
Oh,
open up the teddy bear, see what's inside the teddy bear.
I see. That's really cool, actually.
Do you have a shovel?
I do not.
Okay, Bubbles does. Bubbles wants to see if you can bury the new teddy bear. Just put the teddy bear on the ground. Okay, you cannot bury new. Bubbles will work on that. But yeah, they look like normal teddy bears, except they're a bit more hidden on what they have inside of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Will they sell? Probably not, but it's fun to.
You could always do like a treasure hunt. You don't know what you're getting when you find one.
Bubbles can make surprise. Oh my goodness, that's so true. Bubbles can sell like little gifts, like random gifts, like oh, they're 15 nails each, but you don't know what you're getting. So when they buy them, they could just have little knickknack stuffs in it. Like maybe one will have like a thing of matches, a book, a pen, and like a compass.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool.
That is, that's how Bubbles will stand out. Thank you, Bubbles. That thanks you. Oh, you will get one free surprise bear.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Also, Bubbles sold the Ratnik that Bubbles had for a stack of nails. Bubbles didn't know they're worth that much.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, Mace bought them for a stack of nails, though. It was a tan one, not even the black one. I'm guessing the black Ratnik probably sell for a stack and a half.
You could even probably dye them at this point.
That Bubbles will have to go talk to Rabbit about dyeing stuff. But if you find any so Bubbles is trying to figure out prices and how to display them, but Bubbles is gonna set up a donation thing up front, and if you read Bubbles' note, any stuff that Bubbles gets donation wise is gonna help reduce the cost of the item that Bubbles can make with stuff, because
Oh, okay.
Bubbles doesn't want to take advantage of someone. So if you get me a bunch of clothes and Bubbles makes a bunch of thread, Bubbles will be able to bring the price down of patches and clothes repairs and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Because Bubbles feels like if I capitalize on free stuff, it just doesn't make Bubbles feel good. So Bubbles is gonna try to, make it seem like if well, not make it seem, but make it where if you give Bubbles something for free, Bubbles will help give you something for reduced or.
Seems like you got it all sorted out.
Bubbles has spent a lot of time thinking about how Bubbles is gonna. Bubbles wants to do this right. Bubbles doesn't want to just, kind of just be like, oh wow, Bubbles wants to do tailoring, but Bubbles doesn't actually do it right. Bubbles wants to make himself seem useful in that business. Bubbles has sacrificed almost all of Bubbles' lockers to put in here Bubbles' store.
That's a good thing.
Yes, Bubbles is trying to make this work. Because all of Elkridge is known for is the ULF, but Bubbles wants Elkridge to be known as a town, not like, the military people.
Oh no, I feel that 100%.
No, Bubbles just always wanted to make a good impact around me. Just trying. Speaking of, Bubbles can make armbands and patches now. Bubbles figured out how to do that. If you ever need a patch or like pouches for that bag you're carrying, just come see Bubbles. And if Bubbles has the resources, Bubbles.
Actually, could you make me a patch, maybe?
Sure. What would you like for the patch? I can make flags and logos.
Let's do some logos.
I'm going to borrow you for a sec, Chris.
Yeah. Here, give me a second.
Sorry to interrupt. I just need to borrow this man for a minute, Bubbles.
Bubbles is working on a patch, so you're okay.
Roger.
What's up?
Can you show me which property Dr. Sherman lives in? I want to leave him a letter.
I'm not exactly sure which one. I heard two things. I heard you say he lived. Oh wait, no, that was Steve. I think he lives at the clinic.
What, a little hut by the side of it, or actually in the clinic?
Uh, Not sure. Probably in it.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you what, Chris. Do you see him on a regular basis? Will you see him tonight?
I might, yeah.
Can you give him a letter, please?
Yeah.
With my heartfelt best wishes to him. Really. I don't mind if you read it. It's not a problem.
I'm not gonna read it. It's not my business.
That's all right. Yeah, I don't know him that well, but when I heard about what happened to him, yeah, I was a bit shocked. To be. Just want to wish him well.
I understand.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that, Chris.
Sure thing.
Right, I'm going to get my head down. It's going to be for a good while as well. All right, so have a good night tonight. Enjoy yourself, and look forward to that trip to the beach, mate. Soon as.
Yeah, me too.
God bless.
Hello.
What kind of patch would you like? I can make like military style, like squad leader, team leader, machine gunner, etc. I can make like US and UK, Australia, and have like the infrared version of those.
Yeah, can you make me a US one?
Infrared or non-infrared?
Uh, Infrared.
Infrared, infrared makes it black and white.
Actually no. Just give me a regular one.
The US one.
Yep.
Couples can also make patches that say like, "You fuck shit up," "Stay the fuck away," 810 log ones,
Oh,
stuffs.
nice.
Tell me how the patch looks up to your standard.
Yeah, that looks great.
Um, since your opinion is invaluable to me, have the patch for free time.
Oh no, I can't do that. I can give you. I can go look for some stuff. Maybe help you out.
No, it's fine. Your opinion means more than a couple.
Well, I appreciate it. I really do.
Everyone should feel somewhat appreciated. And I don't say that just to say that. It really helps me figure out what Bubbles needs to do.
Yeah, I understand.
You think the store would look better with a gray or a blue locker up front?
Well, blue would definitely stand out, but I think gray would look better. But
Try and put out a donation. Bubbles really doesn't like to. Bubbles needs a better way to find it.
yeah, that looks good.
You have a piece of paper.
I do not.
I just hope that someone doesn't steal the locker.
I doubt they will.
I like how the store is looking now. When you look inside, also that carpet's for sale. I don't.
You don't want to.
Well, no, it's just that. I mean, it's not necessary for me to have. So if someone else thinks that this is okay,
I see. I mean, it looks pretty good in there.
Because if bears, Bubbles, I like Bubbles like the way the Bubbles story is turning.
Did you ever think about putting a window cover over it?
Bubbles, I think, has the stuff to do so. It's just Bubbles doesn't know how. Bubbles is not a carpenter. Bubbles is Bubble.
Someone around here might know. I think it'd be cool having it open when you're open and shut when you're not.
One thing that confused me that I had to do a lot of explaining, and I needed Rabbit's like recommendation to get my shop. But like Steve was able to just be like, "Hey, can we build this out by a foundation and go up by a floor to basically build basically times the size of the shed?" And Jack was just okay to do that.
You don't like the idea?
No, I don't want to just. Cause it would look bad.
It would, yeah.
But I just don't know why Jack was just so quick to be like, yeah, sure, we can just build this big monstrosity. Like I had to give all the supplies to get this built. I don't know, Jack just seemed so okay with it. Well, and Jack is never okay with stuff being built without, much thought.
Yeah, he gave old man crap for putting the billboard out there, but
But he was okay with just allowing, to have this big thing. And then when I said no to that, just allowing Steve to build probably something of a similar stature by the entrance. Steve is going to have a store by the entrance. That's crazy. Don't know how it's going to fit over there, but I'd like to see it if it does happen. Also, I can build a pouch for your bag, that bag you wear. I just need more tarp.
I mean, we might have some.
I can build IFAC pouches, taco pouches, like small, simple medical pouches, bag and belt.
And you just need tarp.
I need tarp, yes.
How much?
I need 4 tarp per pouch. I already have 3, but the next pouch I make has to go to Mace because he gave you the 3, so I'll give the pouch. But after that, I can make.
Okay, I'll go. I can go
Or
see
if
if I
you,
have some.
or
tarp,
if
but-
you just bring me 4 tarp, just make the pouch.
Okay. I'll actually go look around right now for that.
Um, Bubbles charges. Bubbles is thinking between 15 to 20 nails per pouch because or tarp is worth around that much.
Yeah, that'd be a good price, I think.
Okay. Because it's tarp. Tarp is tarp is used for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Especially in like jobs like blacksmithing, you tarp stuff.
Morning.
Morning. Can I get your opinion on something? So Bubbles
Where you going, boy?
is now
I was gonna go look for something real fast. You already told me. So.
this is Bubbles' store. Bubbles is finally established.
take care of it. All right. I understand your problem. I understand what's going on. Don't you worry. This has gone on far enough. I'll take care of it. All right.
Like Bubbles doesn't want to like create conflict or drama within the walls
No,
of
Bubbles,
Elkridge.
you did nothing wrong. You did not create this problem. You just happen to be the victim of it. This is a problem that is beyond your control. Again, you just happen to be the victim. So it's not your fault. Got it? But something needs to be done because this is officially ridiculous.
Like Bubbles doesn't mind if Steve lives in Elkridge. I just don't want to partner up so quickly, and everything's moving so
Well,
fast.
at the same time, we don't need two freaking tailors. We've already got one right here. We don't need a second one, no matter how skilled he is. I don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, learning stuff from the other tailor wouldn't be a bad thing either.
Right, but opening up two tailors that are both opening businesses makes zero sense. Why would you have two tailors when the other dude can come here to this shop, teach Bubbles, and be on his merry freaking way?
That's what Bubbles is also trying to understand. Why move out of the Cornelia, whatever it's called, place so fast? So without really much thought about it.
I mean,
Unless
that could be
something's happening over there, but Steve seems happy over there. So I don't know like why he's trying to move out so fast. Bubbles doesn't want to leave Elkridge. Bubbles' home. Bubbles has new family, and Bubbles doesn't want to abandon it because Bubbles feels like, you know.
Bubbles, like I said, I'll take care of it, okay? You got nothing to worry about. You just keep doing your thing, keep working on clothes, and keep learning, alright?
Bubbles found out how to build out. Bubbles.
What's going on over there?
You want to turn around really quick? Show the old man the patch I made. Bubbles made the
Sure.
patch.
Yeah, I got a few minutes. Oh!
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
I like it. It looks really good. Good
You will
quality,
see.
good
You will see.
size, no blemishes. Very well done, Bubbles. I like it. It's got the old man's stamp of approval.
I gotta write that down. That.
Hang on. A second to find my. I forget how. I gotta figure out my fingers.
Here you go, Bubbles.
Dude, what's going on? Why did I come over and hear you saying that you don't got nothing to worry about, Bubbles? What's going on?
Well, I don't know if
Just
you know
store
this.
drama.
No, it's more than just store drama, because he's starting to creep on my shit, too. The best way I can put it is that... No, I'm gonna say it as it is. Fuck it. Jack's doing a stupid by taking Bubbles' store away and basically taking his business away to some random that most of us haven't even met.
You talking about that Steve guy?
Mm-hmm.
Bubbles has been here for exponentially longer than we know Steve.
Exactly. And yet,
And we
all
know
of a
Bubbles.
sudden,
He's been doing this for a while.
Exactly. That's the trouble we're having, is that Jack wants to essentially replace Steve, our town's tailor, as I now know him, with Steve, some tailor from Carantha, whatever the fuck that place is.
I just call it Cornelia. I don't know what it's
Yeah, that one. So, and quite frankly, I find that very unjust. So, I'm gonna
Bubbles doesn't
put
know why
together
he
a
wants to leave that
document
place
and
so
write out this complaint and officially give it to Jack and be like, this needs to be fixed ASAP.
Well,
like
there
Bubbles.
is a question,
like
Bubbles. There is a question before we, because rightly, we are upset about this, man, because you've been with us here for a while, you were moved in here before I was, and tailoring, is that something that you're dead set that you want to do?
Bubbles, since Bubbles is going to let Jack do all the blacksmithing, Bubbles wants to put Bubbles' time and talent towards tailoring, and Bubbles has been practicing.
Good. Yeah.
Bubbles has now been trying to establish himself. Bubbles even came up with a name it may not be the name that sits, but Bubbles is now officially known as, tailoring place.
I agree. When I think bubbles, I think clothes. Not in a bad way. Just I think tailoring and threads and needles and all the other fun stuff.
Like Bubbles is gonna do like a couple things with the bears and stuff, but Bubbles doesn't want to, Bubbles want to stay with the.
Yeah.
Bubbles doesn't have any disregard towards Steve. It's just Bubbles doesn't want to work with someone and live. He wanted to basically build a whole expansion to this, live upstairs, basically, like live in the store. Bubbles wanted to have the store and have a separate life away from the store, because that is healthy to the mind. You shouldn't always have to live where you work. It works for some people, but it does not work for Bubbles.
It works
Bubbles
for
does.
me. I like living in my store.
Bubbles doesn't know who Steve really is as a person, so Bubbles doesn't want to say, "Oh yeah, I'll let this person
That's another. Not knowing who
run
comes
with."
in here is a completely separate issue
Yeah.
than him.
It's still an
That's a-
issue nonetheless.
That's a whole nother issue that needs to be addressed. But
Because I don't want to have to argue with someone about prices or how we do things. Because Bubbles
And
was
you
just
shouldn't.
talking. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names. Bubbles was talking to that person. I apologize if
Chris,
that would Chris.
Chrissy boy.
I was talking to Chris about how Bubbles wants to things that Bubbles gets for free. Bubbles wants to use to decrease prices of what things Bubbles makes. It only seems fair to Bubbles. But I don't know if Steve's the type of person, because Steve wants to charge 30 nails per piece of clothing to get pristine repaired, and 10 nails per every 100 thread that he has to use out of his personal collection. So if you bring him no thread and a piece of ruined clothing, it will cost you 70 nails to fix that piece of clothing.
well, what does it cost him or what does it cost to fix ruined clothing? On the other.
Well,
on
you
their
have
side.
to go to the tailoring bench on the island by Old Town. So
Right.
besides travel, it's going to be 10 nails per 100 thread, which 2 shirts can get you 100 thread, if you know what you're doing.
Oh wow, that's a lot of overcost.
Bubbles
That's
doesn't
overcharging.
Bubbles doesn't want to overcharge things. Like, I get it, people have
Yeah.
to survive, but Bubbles is comfortable where Bubbles is, so Bubbles doesn't want
There's
to
a lot of
charge
other
more than
ways.
the like.
There's a lot of other ways to earn nails than overcharging that much for somebody.
And Bubbles doesn't know how much he
Fixing
charges for
clothes.
patches and pouches and stuff. Like, Bubbles charges, I think Bubbles is going to charge 15 to 20 nails per pouch, because it costs about 4 tarp to make.
Mhm.
And 4 tarp is worth about 15 to 20 nails. And per patch, Bubbles is still trying to figure it out, because I have to use about 50% of a sewing kit. So like all the thread and needles and that takes about half the sewing kit to make. Plus it takes 100 thread to make said pouch. So Bubbles was thinking maybe 10 nails per pouch or patch.
How much do sewing kits go for on the market?
Like regular sewing kits or like leather sewing kits?
Like a regular one?
I mean, shit, 10, maybe 10, 15 nails at most.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't sell them for very much. I mean,
Bubbles thinks
I'm not a trader,
10
so I don't know.
nails. Bubbles thinks 10 nails
That's
per
another
patch.
fucking issue altogether, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Also, Bubbles thinks that Bubbles' work of making those patches are worth 10 nails.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Pretty? Yes? No?
I like that. I like the stock. Are you able to make a wooden handguard too? Like that?
I gotta find them. They're very hard to find. I'm trying to learn how to make the accessories, but it ain't going very well. I have one. I just gotta find it somewhere. It's on the other one in the store, so I gotta go on a run later and find some more.
Gotcha.
But bubbles. We feel your pain. We hear you. We do. And trust me, I definitely understand. I've seen this behavior before, and I will not allow it to happen this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some time. I'm going to write a formal request and demand an explanation as to what's going on. I will present it to Jack. If you all decide to sign it, let me know, and we can sign it, showing that we are all in agreement. It won't be anything bad. We're not making demands. We just want to let him know that we have concerns and a couple issues. All right. This is not a coup. This is not a rebellion. This is not us trying to take control. This is just us stating
nothing wrong with
that
that.
as citizens of Elk Ridge and members of the ULF, that we have some concerns and issues of what's currently being done. Is this understood thus far?
Bubbles
Yeah,
understand.
I think that a lot of the stuff, like I've tried to, for example, I had a thing that I had brought up to him that a lot of new people, like myself, and I'm sure Bubbles included, people have kind of walked in here and just been given a home without really knowing who they are. I tried to come to Jack with a list of just simple questions to ask people when they come in, just to kind of get a feel so we know who they are. And I just haven't heard anything about it. I feel
Hey,
like
Bubbles.
I feel like
something
suggestions. I feel like
Shit, it took me
suggestions
and
for that.
Chris, it took me and Chris. How long did it take us to even
Hey, old
get
man.
a
Old man.
meeting with
Let
him?
me finish. Let me finish my thought, man. Give me a second.
Sorry,
Let me finish talking.
I jumped the gun. My bad.
I feel like I personally don't think Jack mean no harm. I just think that it's a little bit tougher to kind of communicate things. I think that the way that you suggested it's a good idea. When things like this need to be changed, you get a bunch of people that feel the same way, kind of sign on and agree on something and hand it to them. You know what I mean? And if that don't work, then cross that bridge when we get there. But I definitely think that's a good start on shit like that. Because there's a lot more issues than just the whole Steve and Bubbles thing. Like for example, that pantry needs to be the fucking trader. I don't know why it's not already, but.
But you also have to consider that that is, his home. So
It's not.
there's that. Don't you live there?
Nope.
Oh,
I live in the back of the pantry
oh.
with
Well,
Chris.
that's up to.
Yeah,
Oh,
me and
well,
Chris
that's up to
actually
you
live
two
there.
to decide then.
They were roommates.
But Bubbles, and I agree with you because when I first came here, Jack was like, "What's your name?" I said, "Bubbles." Bubbles is homeless. Bubbles wants to know how to. Bubbles wants to be a part of your community. And then Jack just gave Bubbles a home. That same day, that same conversation, he was like, "Oh, well, you can come over here." He tried to put me in this cabin, but he forgot the lock in that cabin. So he put me in number 15. No questions
I'll be right
asked.
back. Let me get
Just
some
said,
water.
"Here you go," which I'm grateful for it. But I think that down the line, now that finally have a clear head because I have a place to live and I feel safe, I don't think that that was a smart decision because if you just invite anyone in, that could create problems and stuff of that nature. So having kind of like not really an interview, but more or less just trying to figure out who the person really is and not just who they say they are.
Just
Be
some form
smarter.
of process. Chris, you've been awfully quiet. What say you?
Yeah, I definitely think there needs to be some sort of questions asked before they move in. Maybe like a trial run where we get to meet them for a week or so and see how they are.
And
What
we
about the
could
other
do,
issues that have been brought up?
Oh.
Well, I don't like causing drama, so I'm just gonna stay out of it. But I agree with what you guys said.
You were saying, Bubbles?
Bubbles doesn't want to just kick people out in the street, so Bubbles understands where Jack comes from that. But as a permanent resident, Well, I consider myself permanent. I don't know if you guys do now, but I mean, I have a store here now, so it kind of is set in stone.
Yeah, I
But
got no reason to go nowhere.
maybe we can
At least
have
not right
we can
now.
use those trailers. Like the trailers are big enough that you know you could live in them, but they're not so big where you can. I don't want to say get comfortable, but you can't. I can't. It's hard to explain.
It's
But I
cozy
feel like
enough to be there temporarily, but not indefinitely.
yeah, the cabins should be set for people who truly want to be here, and the trailers could be for the temporary people who are trying to feel out whether or not they belong here or they don't belong here.
I mean, shit, I'm not actually. You got me thinking. I got a question for all you, right? Something, maybe a possible solution to solve that specific issue. What if we open kind of like a hotel of sorts?
Well, Bubbles is down for it because Bubbles has been homeless for a while. So Bubbles understands that having a place to stay, even at the cost of supplies, is worth more for safety than it is for the materials used to live there. So Bubbles is down to help for that if that becomes a thing.
Because I don't want to just present nothing but issues and troubles to Jack. I want to at least have some possible solutions to them as well.
Complaints mean nothing if there's nothing to back the complaint up with a solution.
Exactly.
And Bubbles doesn't mind if Steve wants to live here because everyone should be welcome. It's the fact that Jack's okay with building a store as well as having as well as him a home in the same store that kind of doesn't make sense to Bubbles because I had to work hard to get this. Jack is very lenient on what gets built and not get built, and just allowing someone who doesn't live here to start building up shop. No, it just doesn't seem. I wouldn't say right. It just seems weird.
This isn't me trying to take a stab or nothing like that, but wasn't he talking about only having one person for, to focus on something at a time too?
And that's what scares Bubbles. Because Steve is a better tailor than Bubbles. He knows more. So I don't want Steve to come in and just kick Bubbles out, and then Bubbles has nothing to fall back on.
Steve may know more, but we like you better.
Bubbles thinks everyone who thinks that way.
I think that if he's gonna come in and he has something to offer about the tailoring and stuff like that, if Jack, if he wants to go back on what he said and have the both of you working on it, then he needs to agree. Steve needs to agree to your prices, how you want to do it. And if he doesn't like that, then honestly, maybe that's just me being me, but tough luck. You know what I mean? You've been here a lot
It's
longer.
different. Oh, sorry.
You're running
But
things the right way.
It's different to have someone have me to go move into his home, and because he's moving into my home, and not demanding, but hey, we should work together. Let me live in the store while you go live in your cabin, and let me, kind of manage the store. It would be different if I was going over to his home and then he was like, you know, I want you to do this and that because, I'm moving to where he is rather than him moving here. I kind of just feel like, I don't know why he wants to move out of the town, but that's not my business. But I kind of feel like he's kind of just stepping on toes without really realizing what he's kind of doing. I don't know, it feels very demanding that he was like, fine, you don't want to work with me? I'm going to go build a store and, yeah. But it's just happening all so fast. Bubbles still trying to grasp on what's really going on. But it makes Bubbles feel better that have other people's opinions. Because before you, Casey, and you came over, it was 2 people were okay with it to 1 person not okay with it. But now that I talk to more people, no, it's now different. A lot of other people don't really like the fact that Steve is just kind of.
The thing that I don't like, regardless if he's a better tailor or anything like that, that means that, Chris, do you have any idea of what you would want to do if you picked a profession? Just as an example, just pick something.
Wow, putting me
Let's
in.
say you wanted to do farming, right?
Sure.
Let's say you really wanted to do farming and the herbs and all that, right? That means that if somebody else came along, and Chris been here a long time, if somebody else fucking came along and was like, "Oh hey, I know this, this, and this. I know more than Chris about farming," and next thing you know, that guy is just allowed to take over Chris's job like that. I don't like that, man.
Yeah,
That
that
don't feel
makes.
good to me. That don't feel good to me. Regardless if somebody knows something more, anybody that puts business
I'm
over
gonna go
bond,
look at the
I don't
trader.
like
I'll
that.
be back. I'm gonna go see the progress of it so far.
I don't like
And
that,
like,
man.
I
That
wouldn't be
don't sit right
mad
with me.
if like Steve went into like, because I know that Jack built those like that trader over there that has multiple windows. That's kind of open for anyone who wants to trade out of the. I know it's not done yet. Like, I wouldn't be mad about that because that's what that's made for. It's made for people to go in, trade their goods, buy stuff, Which Bubbles was okay with that, but I Bubbles is thankful that Jack allowed Bubbles to have his own like separate place. But if Jack really wants to be a part of Elkridge, I feel like him having a home and then also selling what his personal goods out of the trading post would be okay. It's just that Jack was so quick and okay with just because Jack was always against building stuff like this. Jack doesn't
Yeah.
like having all the extra stuff here, which I understand. It causes headaches. It makes the place not look as good, depending on how you do it. But just having, I mean this with respect, but just having some random person come in and just up, just erect, and I don't even know what his plans are. If he plans on still doing the big like 2-story house shop thing. I don't know.
Well,
It's just something we gotta talk to Jack about.
I looked at the trader. All that's in there is just some random rifles and 2 posters. Not a whole lot in there. I guess it's another day that I'm acting trader. But let me go work in that document there. When it's done, I'll ask each of you to sign it if you agree with it or not.
Sure. Yeah. Take a look.
And I don't know what Jack's priorities are anymore. His priority was to get the wall built. That's why I didn't want to ask about the shop yet. But Rabbit just, asked him, and he was okay with it. The wall's not done yet. Well, the main wall is. There's still that one part that, like, 3 cabins are outside of. So I don't know what Jack's new priority is.
Yeah, he kind of seems all over with what he wants to do, which could be a problem. But
Because, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
While building the wall, Jack made the shop over there. And the shop is just sitting there because no one has access to it, so no one can sell out of it.
I also think the shop should be in that building over there instead. But
Yeah. Yeah. The
At the town hall
the
that we
bar
don't
building
use.
or whatever. Yeah. That needs to be. It's got the perfect layout and space for it. I feel like.
yeah, it's like
And then the town hall could even be what the trader is now. There's enough room in there to put chairs and shit like that, tables and stuff in there. But
Because the time that we could use the town hall as a town hall, like when the riders were over, they just talked inside of Jack's house or outside by the well. Like when you have discussions with different groups, you would use a town hall for that.
you would think you'd use that bar over there, offer 'em drinks and stuff. But
Like, I'm not disrespecting Jack. I think Jack with my
no,
life.
I
giving
think
me
I
a
think we
place
can
to
all
live and
agree that
everything.
this, don't worry, Bubbles. I think we can all agree that nobody's out to get Jack or anything like that. It's just
I just
some-
think that priorities need to be reworked and like kind of address the residents on actually see who's living here and who's not. No.
got to do a little bit of a roll call. And I feel like, even the people that are already here, like us, like I wouldn't mind, if he came, he was like, hey, grab me, pull me aside, kind of be like, hey, let's ask a couple questions, kind of get a feel for it, just so everybody can kind of get a feel for each other. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, shit, like I don't think, I've ever sat down and had a conversation with, you know, like I know you've been spending a little bit of time with Mace and like with what's the other guy's name? The darker fella that comes around with
Daniel.
the
Carl. Oh, Daniel.
Daniel.
That's
Is that it?
correct.
Yeah, Daniel.
Carl.
Daniel.
I was
Yeah.
old. I was old with the beard.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of don't really get to. People don't feel tight knit. You know what I mean? I guess everybody kind of do their own thing, but you gotta have community rather than all just living together. That's just me.
Which I understand when the wall wasn't built. You'd see random people walking about and stuff. But now that we actually have a wall, I think we should, you know, because if there's actually 20 people living in here, I've only seen about 7 to 8 residents. So if there actually is 20 people living here, I feel like there would be more people around. But maybe people sleep in, people don't, so that could just be a Bubbles problem. But I would be okay if Jack or someone took me aside and asked me questions and stuff like that. Like Bubbles doesn't want to think like that, but all it takes is just one cannibal to act like a normal person to start causing havoc and bad names about the town.
Yep. Yeah. I'm kind of just grinding out myself right now. I've been in so many groups where people either go off to other islands, to the mainland or something like that, or they, kind of, I don't know. But a lot of the stuff that I've been through kind of starts off like this, and I feel like we got to kind of tackle some of these problems, and, rather than letting people stew on it.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
a lot of that
enough
stuff
on
kind of
Oh, I'll let you
that
finish
that
before I
just
say what I was
builds
gonna
that
say.
starts to build resentment and shit like that, and that's never good. So
Bubbles wants Elkridge to last. Bubbles doesn't want Elkridge to be a
absolutely.
temporary solution to a bigger problem. This place
I
is
think we
beautiful.
all
Look at
want
all
that.
we have a pond. I don't like how the pond is obstructed by 2 houses. Is that a house? I've never seen anyone come out of that house.
I've never seen anybody come and go. Do you know that, Chris? Who
Yeah,
lives in
that's
there?
where the mayor used to live, but I
Oh,
honestly
Joe.
know Leo.
Joe. No. Leo. That's it. Leo. Not. I don't know why I thought Joe,
But
but yeah,
I
Leo.
think we should get rid of that. It's just an eyesore.
I agree. It either get rid of it or that needs to be the actual. I mean, first and foremost, I feel like old man's spot. The pantry needs to just be made to the fucking trader at this point.
I mean, that
If
building
there's,
could be
at
too,
least
but
temporarily. That building could be transformed into a trader to have, one, maybe like 2 or so people working at a time. But
Bubbles would rather have that place gone because it disrupts the river or the pond. But
it would be
Bubbles
nice to see the pond,
understands.
yeah.
But Bubbles understands if that to save resources and time if that gets repurposed into something.
I mean, even with only like a handful of people that I've seen here for the last few days or so, maybe like a week or so, even then, I mean, we can still pull together the resources so we can transform what we want. It's not like, we don't have the hands to do it, but
Like Bubbles is still on the fence about. Bubbles wants to basically add kind of like how the floor is
keep
in the
in mind,
building.
Bubbles. Keep
Yeah.
in mind that there's, how do I word this? There's better buildings that we can actually build here than, that we can build here in the future. Kind of like how we built the radio tower up.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
But Bubbles is. I feel like Bubbles is on the very bottom of the priority list of basically building a store or home like that. So Bubbles is going to plan
Yeah,
off of
I understand.
keeping my lovely box. This is Bubbles' box.
It's a good box.
But Bubbles wants to kind of build like not the but kind of build a floor outwards by 1. Not like put a roof on it or anything, but maybe put like a fireplace and maybe a couch, just so people doesn't have to stand on the gravel and have the grass tickle their stuff.
I mean, even if he just, for the time being, even if for some reason, like, you know, Jack would probably, you know, as soon as you talk about expanding, I know that he'd probably throw a fit at that, which, you know,
But then
it's just,
again,
you gotta be careful how
but
you word stuff like that, but.
but that's the thing. I want to say he will, but if he was okay with just adding, basically take this box and then add 3 more, because Steve wanted to go out by 1 and then up by 1. If he was okay just to do that, then I don't think there'd be any issue just adding a floor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Jack in about a day, so I don't know what his mood is. I know his mood determines on what happens to Elkridge. So maybe Jack was just in a good
If
mood.
you ask me, man, I think that, you know, Chris, how long have you been here with the ULF guys?
A couple weeks.
I know that this place
Wow.
has been up for about like a month and a half or something like that, around there. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
At least from what Jack told me. Was there ever like a vote for Jack to kind of make all these calls, or
Nope.
is that just kind of how it's always been?
Yeah.
I'm not
Well, there's
saying that
that
anybody.
mayor.
What did the mayor do?
Well, Jack wanted him to be the mayor, but gave him nothing to do, you know. I think that's the main reason why he left, honestly.
I
What
think
if,
that
as a
there
joke,
needs.
we had a mayor, someone run for mayor.
I think that, you know, not too far off from like the mayor idea, but there really needs to be some of these things need to be group decisions, not just, you know, everything has to go through him and get shut
Well,
down
to
and
be
shit. At least
fair,
that's just my opinion.
I don't think Jack or other people see this place as, because everyone I talk to doesn't see Elk Ridge as Elk Ridge. They see Elk Ridge as ULF. People see this place as the home of the ULF, not as a settlement with the ULF being like a military, like, armory part of it. So I think trying to distinguish between Elk Ridge and the ULF, like, not saying to like separate them, but to like kind of internally divide them would probably make this place appear better and
Yeah.
also work better in like junction. Because Bubbles already seen that there's already a separate part for the ULF stuff, the armory, the terminal stuff. You know, all the ULF stuff is already separate from Bridge. Just the fact of portraying that and having someone run Elk Ridge and having someone run the ULF. Because yes, they live in the same place, but Bubbles thinks that there should be someone taking charge on each side rather than one person take charge on both. Because Bubbles thinks it's different to run ULF that is run Elk Ridge. Different mindset you have to be put into.
I just think, yeah, everything can't be up to one person. That just doesn't feel right.
Also, Bubbles realizes that, Bubbles has only been here for about a week, so Bubbles' word doesn't carry as much weight as...
Time doesn't equal, you know, input or validity, I guess you could say. Time don't, you know, that you got a valid point about something, you know, how long you've been here shouldn't, you know, at least in my mind, those two things don't kind of go hand in hand, but.
Well, welcome back.
Yes, alright. So far what I've got, let's see. So, bear with me. Alright, this is a list of concerns and complaints that the residents of Oak Ridge and members of the ULF have in the current time. Steve the Tailor moving on top of Bubble's store and taking over. And then so far, under that, I have more than one Taylor goes against his own policy. The trader is in a poor location and has been delayed in completion for some time, showing every person a full tour of everything that ULF and Oak Ridge has. That brings up security concerns. Not ensuring that members of the ULF have access to everything deemed to be for the members of ULF. Unsure if codes are being documented, and all the codes belong to Jack. Allowing anyone to just walk into Oak Ridge and just be given a home right away. Jack states he wants members of the faction to do one job, but yet takes on multiple roles himself. Jack, being the leader of ULF and temporary leader of Oak Ridge, is not working, has failed to fully support either. And then there are other issues that are more in the mind, but is there anything I missed or anything I should be adding? Anything I forgot?
Not really to the list, but as away from the list, do you know what that building? Heck, no, that is part of the list. Never mind. Bubbles was had a brain fart. Your list makes sense because Bubbles was shown the ULF armory inside the ULF compound, inside everything before Bubbles is even a part of Elk Ridge. Bubbles was shown the car. Bubbles was shown everything before Bubbles even had the option to live here. All it takes is just one bad person to hold up Jack when they're inside the main compound to just ruin everything that's been built here.
Hence why showing every person a full tour of everything the ULF and Oak Ridge has is a security concern. Yes, that has been marked here.
I think you did a good job.
I mean, I know, like, I'm old and I know I forgot something, so please, if there's anything else, let me know if I need to phrase something differently to make the point made.
Maybe the reutilization of buildings. Like, that place right there has never been used. That house over there has never been used.
Well, to be fair, watch, come over here. Come over here. Exactly right. That building there, technically that is supposed to be the town hall, where everybody has access to. However, we do not. I have no idea what that building is for, and there are many buildings in the back, like a whole, yeah, there are many buildings here that we don't know what they're for. We do not have access to them, and they're just taking up space that can be utilized. So how would you phrase that? Reallocation of buildings?
I don't know what reallocation means, but Bubbles thinks that sounds professional.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with that. I definitely think, for the pantry right now, obviously being the trader, fine. Right there, that bar building that's currently the town hall. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, this one here is the town hall. Unless that's going to become the town hall.
Jack told me that was the town hall.
That is the town hall? Well, let's see something
That's
real quick.
what Jack told me. And even if it was the town hall, that he says Jack never used it.
Yeah, no, the town hall should be available to every resident. It's not.
Also, Bubbles on the list of not knowing code locks. Bubbles Bubbles is okay with, not necessarily like having the mayor or whatever having the locks of homes just to make sure that, like, if someone moves or whatever, they're able to take it off. But because Jack was originally gonna move Bubbles to this cabin, Jack forgot the code to this cabin, so Jack moved Bubbles into cabin number.
That's been documented. Let me see. Not ensuring that the member. No, that's not it. Unsure if codes are being documented, and Jack has, and all codes belong to Jack. Yeah, so there needs to be documentation of what the codes are, considering that there's so many.
Also, I don't know if you have this. Bubbles has really bad memory. but I think we should take a kind of a roll call of everyone who lives here just to see what places are abandoned and what are not. Because Bubbles doesn't know that that house down there was lived in. The one that has like porch.
Oh, with all the long building.
Yeah, like the real house. I didn't know
Yeah.
that was actually lived in.
If anything, that should be where somebody like fucking Jack lives, not in a giant eyesore of a building over the lake.
Because this is right on the main road, it's bigger and different, so people will know that that's a special or different building. You know,
And cabin number 7 down there is apparently Max Wolf's cabin, but
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he hasn't been around, and I'm pretty sure he moved up with the Syndicate brothers. But
that's where like the roll call thing comes in that Casey was talking about.
yeah,
Find out who lives here and who don't live here. So we can
Gotta find out
open
who
more
lives here, and bringing people in, there's gotta be some sort of process for that. You know, you gotta ask them questions. There needs to be something that,
So,
you know,
adding,
if people are...
I mean, it would be an interview. It's adding a vetting system
Yeah.
to ensure the safety.
What is it
Took the
called?
word.
You have to like apply for a apartment. Bubbles never done that.
An application. That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, applications must be done in order to obtain residency within the town.
I just hope that Jack, like,
If I may, is it possible if we can speak over the radio or, mentally? My throat and I need a lot of water.
Yeah, go get your water, man. You're good. I'm gonna go up in the radio tower for a few minutes. I'm gonna do one of those radio broadcasts I've been doing the last few days anyway, and see if anybody shows up. You know what I mean? I'll be back.
I think Bubbles needs to go find more. Head over to.
okay. I'll be around if you need me.
But I'm happy that Elkridge is finally getting some needed changes, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
I just really don't know if, I just hope that trying to set this place straight doesn't make this place crumble.
That's what I'm afraid of, but
And I don't want to think about it, but Bubbles always thinks of every possibility. I also hope that, like, Jack doesn't feel unwanted and then, like, leaves town and there you are left in a disarray. Because of people's concern.
yeah.
Bubbles hasn't seen Jack under that type of pressure yet, so he'll take it well.
Yeah, we'll get through it, I think, but
This is Bubbles' home now. This is like Bubbles' not really, this is Bubbles' family now. Bubbles wants to see the best of this place and the people who.
yeah, maybe you should be the one that talks to Jack about it. I know him and Old Man aren't really on the best of terms right now, so maybe,
I don't know if people take me seriously, so. Bubbles is different, and different doesn't correlate well with seriousness. Also, apparently, the writers of Portland is interviewing Jack today.
Yep. Hopefully he's around for it, but
What does they mean by finding out what we need and want to know?
Just like anything people want to know about the ULF or about Jack, I guess.
Would that be a perfect opportunity to ask our questions and concerns?
Maybe we shouldn't do it so publicly, so people wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that should be a public. My Bubbles got ahead of him.
But who knows? Maybe people
So
will
when-
ask him stuff that will help us with those.
Bubbles is hoping someone asks about what the future of Elkridge has, maybe, so we can see what Jack thinks of the future is in his hands.
Yeah.
Bubbles is probably going into adventure just to take Bubbles' mind off things.
Yeah, that's probably for best. But I'll be around if you need me.
And if Bubbles finds word card, Bubbles will get a pouch, not patch, pouch for you.
I'd appreciate it.
Bubbles can finally say that is Bubbles' job.
There you go.